Good evening, guys, and happy Friday to all of your sunshiny faces. I might have sort of fallen asleep watching a movie, and now I need to take a shower and get to bed. Yeah, I stayed up late, but like I said, I sort of guess I took a nap. And again, need to get to bed now, but I'm like, whenever this has happened before, I end up like sleeping in really late the next day because like I don't get good sleep because like I went to bed late, even though like I took a nap earlier, but I didn't actually like go to bed. So, but anyways though, guys, so was it yesterday, I think, or Wednesday, when me and my dad ended up going to Meijer. I told you guys we had to make a couple other stops. We went to GameStop because we were going to get Jack, he needed a gift card for one of the games that he was getting for his birthday. And then we also made a stop to Target, which originally was kind of upset because I was looking for, I really wanted to get a speaker for my room, and just because like I will play music a lot of times off of my TV, like on my Apple TV, and so I'll just stream it on there. Originally, back when like at the very beginning when I first got my TV, like the smart TV, I used to just play Spotify straight off there. It was really nice. However, I told you guys, like, I don't know like exactly what's kind of happened entirely, but okay, compared to the Apple TV that I have and compared to the smart function on the TV, the Apple TV runs so much smoother versus the smart TV portion of the TV, like the built-in smart TV. It's so slow, it lags, it's like the movies, like, you don't know, or whatever I'm watching, it's just like spinning and like not connecting and like all this kind of stuff, and it's always randomly having to go through an update. On top of that too, you don't get to pick the apps that you want to download. I think it's I actually don't know what type of smart TV it is. I think it's a Google or like a Chromecast TV, or it has that function in it. I don't necessarily know exactly like if that is the streaming service that it has. Jack's TV I know has a Roku, but like I said, I think mine has like Chromecast on it. And I think too our Amazon Fire Stick that we have in the living room for the most part works fairly well, and Jack so far also too doesn't seem like he has much of a problem with the Roku smart TV that he has. And like I said too, this Fire Stick that we have in the living room works really well. The only problem is that a handful of months after we got it, which I looked this up, this is apparently a problem that they have with the Amazon Fire Sticks, is that the remote will all of a sudden just like stop working to the point where, and it's not that it stops working, it starts draining batteries. Like you can't even click a button without it's completely draining the batteries. And so it was really crazy. We went through an entire package of batteries and we were like, maybe the package is just bad. We went through another pack, we went through another pack, and it was legitimately actually just draining the batteries. It wasn't like it wasn't working. Like it would work for like a good like minute or two, and then all of a sudden it would stop again, and we're like, really? And then like I said, we bought like a couple more packages, and like all different kinds too. We're using all different brands. It was literally not working. We looked up some ways that like you can sort of fix it, I guess, like resetting the remote and all this kind of stuff, and none of it was working. And so we were having, and the weird thing is that when we very first got it, it was having a weird problem where like the speaker sort of function that was on there, because I think it has like an Alexa or whatever, you can say like, oh Alexa, like play this, or you know, whatever it is. I think my mom tried to use it and like wasn't working, and then after she tried to use it though, it like all of a sudden drain the battery, and we were like, we just put these batteries in. So we replaced the batteries and we never had a problem, and we could still use all of the regular remote functions and even the, you know, the voice control on the remote and all that kind of stuff. So I actually don't know, it might like legitimately be a problem with the voice control on the remote, and that's why it's actually draining the batteries, because like I said, we noticed that very early on at the beginning, but it could also just been like a problem at the beginning that we noticed, and then later on all of a sudden just had like this huge big problem with it. And you know, now it's like isn't like working right. So we don't actually have a new Fire Stick remote. What we're actually using is our universal TV remote, which we use for like our cable box, all that stuff. It actually works also for the Fire Stick, which is really awesome. However, there's like a couple functions we don't know what the buttons are for, or like we don't know how, like the back button is the one that we don't know how to do. So if we click on the wrong thing, we just have to turn the whole TV off, wait a couple seconds, and turn it back on. So you have to hope that whatever you clicked on is where you're actually planning on going. If not, you're kind of not in a very good position because you can't hit the back button. So that's the only problem I think we've had with it. But again, too, I got my Apple TV like a year, 2 years ago, maybe, something like that. And like I said, it has worked like flawlessly. The only thing I don't like is having to have my TV turned on while I listen to music. Like, I'd love to just have a speaker, because I had a little shower speaker that I'd use sometimes, but it was weird because then it was me and Jack were both sharing it. Then all of a sudden Jack's phone wouldn't connect to it anymore, and only my phone was. And it also too was it was supposed to be like also wireless, and I was going to bring it in the bathroom, but you couldn't use it for more than a couple minutes without it having to be charged. Like, there was no battery life left, and it also just had to permanently be charged up, or like permanently plugged in. And then also too, I lost it for a really, really long time. I didn't realize that somebody had put it under the sink in the bathroom, so I just hadn't used it in forever. So anyways though, like I said, I wanted to have a speaker that I could just have in my room. So I ended up getting an Apple Home Mini. And oh my goodness, guys. First off, I just have to say, Apple products and like the like startup for them is so, if you already have like an iPhone and you have all of your information and everything like that in there, the setup for the products are so easy. Like, setting up my TV was practically flawless. You know, I didn't even have to sign into the Wi-Fi, like, because I just connected it to my phone and like my account already, it automatically just connected the Wi-Fi. I didn't have to remember passwords and all that kind of stuff. And the same thing too with the Apple Home Mini. Like, it did the same thing. Like, all I had to do was hold my phone over, like, the light like blinks on the top, and all I had to do was hold my phone over it, like the camera function, and it just like recognized it or whatever, and then it just like started up and everything and connected to it and like started working and all this it was super amazing. And like I said, I didn't have to put any information in. It uses like the Siri voice detection as well on there. So like, you know, the like the way, you know, if you use Siri on your phone or on your like, you know, Apple TV, like I have the Siri remote too, and so it just uses like that function so that it recognizes my voice and all that kind of stuff, which is also amazing. But the setup for it is just, it's awesome. But I love how, like I said, everything is very connected with Apple, and it's just easy to use. Because like today I wanted to watch The Draft, which is on ESPN Plus, and so I hadn't been in the app on my Apple TV in a long time, so I think it signed me out. So I went to go and sign back in, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to type in all this stuff, you know, on the remote. And I was like, oh wait, no I don't, because I was actually on my phone at the same time, and it was like, oh, do you want to use your phone to type it in, instead of, again, too, having to do it on the phone and like scroll over to every single letter, you know, all that kind of stuff. I can just type it in with a, you know, keypad on, you know, or keyboard, you know, on my phone, instead of having to type in all the letters. And, you know, like I said, it takes a really long time. So whenever you have that on the TV, it asks you if you want to just do it on your phone, so that, like I said, it's easier for you to type stuff in on your phone on a keyboard than it is to type the stuff in on off the remote. So like I said, it's really, I love like the connection, I guess, between like the Apple products, and like I said too, the startup is really easy. So like I said, I got that the other day, and I was honestly, I was like, maybe I'm not even going to set it up right now, because I was like, I don't want to have to go through this whole thing of setting it all up and everything. And again, when I was like, oh my gosh, it took me like 5 minutes to set up, like the updates I think took longer than the whole process of setting it up, which is pretty cool. And like the update too, it was still functional while it was updating, which I also thought was pretty cool. So I didn't have it like, it wasn't like, you know, not working. Like I tried playing music on it and it said, oh, it's updating, and I was like, okay. And then I think I paused it to go and do something. I came back and it was like done, and so I was like, oh, cool. So anyways, like I said, I've been using that right now. But it's nice because it also has like an alarm function on there too, so I can use it as a double purpose for my alarm. Obviously too, there's a lot of other, you know, functions I guess for it, like answering phone calls and, you know, that kind of stuff. But I really wanted to have it as an actual speaker, and guys, the bass on that thing, it's like awesome. Honestly, I really want to know what the Apple Home is like, because the Apple Home Mini has like, you know, again, it's a much smaller unit, but it is still super loud. My mom, who was sitting in the living room, I thought it was actually turned down. I didn't think it was very loud. I was listening to music today, and my mom was like, I heard something. She was like, and I thought it was the neighbors, and I was really starting to get upset because I was like, what are they doing playing music like still? And it was going, it was so loud, and it was just because she could hear me from the other room. But it wasn't anybody in the neighborhood that was playing music. At first she was like, I thought it was a car, and then I was like, maybe it's the neighbors, and I was like, no, it was just that. I was like, I didn't realize it was that loud. But you can like turn the bass down on it and everything. I just had it up because I was like, oh, it's just my mom's home, and you know, I didn't think I was bothering anybody, and I still didn't have it turned up that loud. But she said that she could hear it, so I didn't like say, I didn't realize that she could. So but it is powerful for a little speaker. Like it was definitely, I think, worth the money. But it was weird when we went to Target, they had the like Apple display, like, you know, where they have all the Apple stuff. They had nothing in the display, and they said, oh, if you need help, like ask, you know, for, you know, the items, or, you know, the products or whatever it was. And so I was like looking it up though, because I was like, are they sold out of all of them? Like I understand, like, you know, to ask somebody, but there was nobody in the area that we could just immediately ask. So I was like, I want to ask somebody and then them not have it and stuff. So I looked it up on the Target app, and they did say they had it, but like, I don't know, I mean, I guess maybe theft wise and stuff like that, that's why they keep, like, they don't keep the Apple products in the, like, you know, actual, but it's like behind like the glass, you know, and everything like that. I feel like it's not that, you know, like theft wise, it's still almost as difficult as some of the other products that I feel like some of them are worth more money, if that makes sense, than like, you know, some of the stuff that they had in the Apple display. But they had like other stuff, you know, in like other, like, you know, again, to like Nintendo, and, you know, like, you know, the Switches and stuff like that, and, you know, again, to other products, like smart home speakers and like all that other kind of stuff too, and even to like the Bose speakers, like those ones were in like a display as well. So they had all that stuff out and like in the displays, but all the Apple stuff was kept like in the back room or something like that. And so, like I said, I had to look it up to make sure they even had it, because they didn't have anything out. You know, they didn't even say like, we have this in stock, it's just, you know, like not here or whatever. So again, we were able to pick that up. So I ended up getting it in white. But that is it. Like I said, it is insanely powerful, and like I said too, so far really has been useful, and using, you know, like it's too, because like I was watching, like I said, the draft, and then everybody came home and they were all sitting out in the living room, and I was like, oh, like, you know, they were gonna watch it in there. So I was like, okay, I'll go in the living room then and watch it with them. So I was like gathering up all my stuff. I had my hands full because I was bringing my blanket, my water bottle, and my phone into the living room, and I was like, okay, well, I gotta put all this stuff down to, you know, get the remote to turn my TV off. And I was like, I can just tell Siri to do it for me. So I just told her to turn off my TV, and she did. So I'm living officially in a technology age here, guys. But it is funny now, we're like kind of starting to get into the smart home things. Although I would say my room alone has probably is more decked out with the smart home stuff than anybody else's. Although again too, my parents did just upgrade and got the Amazon Fire Stick like last summer, I think we got it. And then they do have an Amazon, like an Alexa, like the mini one also too, but they never set it up, and I don't actually know where it is. And so I'd love to set it up for them, but I like, it was floating around somewhere, and then my mom put it, I think in her office maybe, and then it was floating around somewhere else because I was like, oh, get it out and I'll set it up. And then she put it back, and then it was, I don't know where it is right now. I know we have it. I know that, like I said, she put it somewhere, but I'm not sure where it is. But again, too, like, that stuff, that's more seems to be what they use. Like, my mom has like a Fire tablet or whatever it is, like the Amazon tablet. Again, too, they have the Fire Stick, and they have the Amazon, you know, the Alexa or whatever it is. So they're a little bit more into the Amazon stuff, I think. I'm, like I said, a little more into the Apple, but I think because I use, like I said, I have an Apple, you know, an iPhone, and so because I use that, I just like the seamlessness of my products all. Like I said, the setup was so easy, and I don't have to download like a separate app. Like the app for like the home feature, like Apple Home kind of, is already like downloaded when I got my phone, you know, so it wasn't extra stuff I had to download. Like the same thing too with like the Ring. We have the Ring floodlight in the backyard, and so because of that though, we have to have like a separate Ring app and all that kind of stuff. Now I do know though, I just looked this up yesterday, I thought it was cool, is that you can get, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it is a app, and I think it's managed by Apple, or I don't even know if it's an app actually. I think you have to do it on your computer possibly, but it takes all of your smart home devices, even I think like again across platform, sort of like the Ring and stuff like that, that's not directly, I think it's called like Home Kit or something like that, but it takes products like the Ring doorbells and floodlight cams, all that kind of stuff, and actually syncs it in with your like Apple products for the most part, I think. Like I said, I'm not entirely sure. I think it can actually, you can use it on like any like Windows, you know, and that kind of stuff too. But like I said, I'm not entirely sure because I was just looking this up today. But like those features, you can use them then so that it works also too with like your like, you know, like the Apple Home Mini as well, so that you can be like, oh, you know, like turn on the floodlights in the backyard. Whereas right now I can't do that because it's not synced up from my Ring to like my Apple account, if that makes sense, is what I gathered from that. And so you have to have it so that it like recognizes it as an Apple. The Ring products will respond to what you tell it, you know, what you tell Apple or Siri, I guess, to kind of like do, or how to handle things or whatever it is, you know, because the same thing too with I think certain like thermostats and stuff like that as well. Now you might be able to use them just with like the Home app from, but I believe it's called like a bridge, so it has to bridge over the software sort of, so between like Apple and then what you use like again too with your thermostats or your smart lights or, you know, that kind of stuff. You have to have those bridge devices, which I didn't know about this before because I was also looking into like curtains, like smart curtains as well. I think I was looking them up from IKEA, and they were like, oh, it works with like the Apple Home Kit bridge or whatever it's called, something like that. But I was like, okay, like, so is that just an app? Like, do I have to, you know, do a whole separate thing? Like, how do I set that up? So again too, it's just crazy. Like, I feel like again we're living in such a technologically advanced age right now that it's kind of scary too. Like it kind of scares me, but at the same time I think it's so cool. But also at the same time, I don't like having a lot of technology because technology does break down over time. And like having curtains like that, although it's really cool, how long does that kind of stuff last? They cost a lot of money, and to have like a motor break down over time could cost a lot of money to replace also. So while I think that kind of stuff is really cool, and I'd love to have my curtains open in the morning and let the sunlight in and wake me up that way instead of alarms, you know, it's really cool. I just, like I said, it's a lot of money to you know, potentially have something end up happening to it over the course of time. You know, I don't see that kind of stuff lasting like 20-30 years, which I feel like for some of that kind of stuff, the price tag should last for a very long time. Some of that kind of stuff only lasts for like a handful of years before, again, something goes out in it and a motor breaks, or, you know, whatever it is, and you have to replace it. So, and the same thing even too, I feel like with like light bulbs, you know, they have like the smart light bulbs. I feel like those too, they don't last forever. Although I will say these ones in my light are not smart light bulbs. However, I have bought them probably when I redid my room in 2017, I think. I only replaced them one time, and it was a different brand. So after like a year, I think I replaced them with these ones now that were expensive. I think they were like $10 a bulb or something like that. So I think I paid $40 for the whole thing. It's lasted me since then. So those, again, they're not smart light bulbs or anything like that, but they were expensive, and they've lasted between 2017 or maybe 2018 until now. That's about 5 years. 5 years, you do the math, and you know, like I said, maybe about $10 per bulb or whatever it was, or maybe it was 15 per bulb. Again, how many is that over 5 years? That's cheap. That is cheap. So I'm, like I said, pretty happy with those. Although they said they were dimmable, they don't dim. That's the only thing I'm upset about. I have a dimmer switch, and the old ones that I had worked with the dimmer, but these ones don't. And they said they were dimmable, and so I really don't know. But you know, like, so I know the dimmer set up right because the old ones used to work, but I don't know why these ones don't. But I love the brightness in here, actually. I don't know, though. I kind of do, I don't know. I'm thinking about replacing the light bulbs at some point. I kind of want them to burn out so I can replace them. Especially, I was thinking with smart light bulbs. Like, if they last as long as these ones did, I would definitely, like, invest in that. But I'm kind of, like, almost secretly hoping that they burn out soon. I think that's the same thing, too, with our bathroom lights. Those are, like, the Edison bulb ones that we did in there. And we've never replaced those. And we redid the bathroom over the pandemic, at least. So that's been a couple of years. And you guys know, like, the bathroom, you know, probably gets the lights turned on the most in like that room, because everybody's always in, you know, the bathroom pretty constantly, especially with 5 people in one bathroom. Between taking showers, you know, and that kind of stuff, like, the lights, you know, aren't constantly on, but, you know, they get used a decent amount, and so, you know, those ones haven't been replaced either. So, anyways, I think I've rambled on long enough. I'm going to take a shower now and get to bed. I will see you guys, though, all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give the old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So, bye, guys.